Kasoho.
Ako si Mario J. De Los Reyes.
Ako po si Malu Mangahas.
Student number 8346443.
9600571.
Graduate kami.
Ng UP Basco.
Naman sa self-identity ng artist. So, lagi nagko-comment yung mga artist na this is so you, this is your identity, this is not you, this is not your identity.
Pilipinas, pampito sa mga bansang
FOI bill nakaharap.
DZUP Balita.
Independent films are necessary to replace type of films that we're tired of.
Thank you sa pumunta.
Susundin ko ang mga tuntunin ng paaralan.
Tutuparin ko ang aking tungkulin bilang mamamayang makabayan.
Naglilingkod, nag-aaral, nagdarasal ng buong katapatan.
Inaalay ko ang aking buhay, pangarap, pagsisikap sa bansang.
At tayo po'y bahagi na ng isang pamilya dahil sa DZUP 1602, kasali ka.
Ito, at sana nakadagdag yon sa inyong kaalaman tungkol sa telebisyon, no? Sa industriya ng telebisyon at sa industriya ng media in general.
Student number hall.
Pwede daw mga
Maraming dimensions, ano? Show me first tired.
sit down or diba? So yung nga ganun nga.
Gender is a social construction. You are
Ang mga utos ng fraile ay 10.
So, commitment equates obligation. Extra work lang siya without the feelings. Why would anybody want that?
Bakit parang kasalanan ko?
Your food waste, your yard waste, water and oxygen.
Sa buhay UP, esensyal ang pagkain hindi lamang para panglaman tiyan.
Anong mga tunog ang pwede nating likaing muli? Anong mga tunog ang nawala? Kung hindi na natin marirecover yung mga tunog na wala, ay gumawa tayo ng mga bagong tunog na magpapatibok ng ating damdamin bilang mga estudyante ng UP, mga tunog na magpapakilalang muli sa atin ng ating identity bilang mga Filipino sa isang bansang naghahanap ng kabuluhan at identity rin. No? Sana yung mga tunog na yon ay talagang tumira sa mga nagsisinungaling at magamit natin sa paghawak natin sa mga katotohanang mapagpalaya, makatarungan, makatao.
This is what we do. Tell stories.
Ay kwento natin lahat.
We tell them in words,
DZUP 1602, ang opisyal na istasyong radyo.
music,
Music Fix and DZUP Sound
images, and experiences. We tell them on air,
Sa coverage, mga
online, and on ground. We tell stories of the people. We tell stories for the people. We tell the stories of the university,
Pagpasok sa UP, parang lingkod sa bahay.
of the community, of the nation, and even beyond.
On VOA Asia, as we celebrate
Radio Day.
We tell what we know, what we see, what we cover, and what we discover. We tell the stories of those who can't.
Nating mga kababayang lumad ay kolektibong katawag.
We tell the stories that should be told,
Nating epekto nitong train law para sa ating mga mahihirap na pamilya.
should be heard,
Ang mensahe ko sa mga bata at sa mga magulang, alamin natin ang kasaysayan.
and should be known.
Outright na pagkikil sa media, ito ay isang malaking
We tell stories that are true,
Pangyayaring kaugnay ng tinatawag nating Diliman Commune.
stories that question, stories that transform.
Instead of UP5, we should say UP.
This is what we do. Tell your stories for you, with you. This is our story.
Bilib ako doon sa mga nananatili para pagsilbihan ng UP.
We're not just radio. We are DZUP.
Maligayang pagdating sa Barangay Luntian kung saan may kakaibang eskwelahan. Para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan, halika na sa DZUP EskweKalikasan. Samahan po natin si Miss Aya Fernandez, isang artista ng bayan, alagad ng media, beauty queen at environmental advocate sa ating programa ngayong hapon. Maligayang pagdating sa Barangay Luntian kung saan may kakaibang eskwelahan. Para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan, halika na sa DZUP EskweKalikasan. Samahan po natin si Miss Aya Fernandez, isang artista ng bayan, alagad ng media, beauty queen at environmental advocate sa ating programa ngayong hapon.
Mabuhay at isang makakalikasang hapon sa inyong lahat. Welcome sa Barangay Luntian at para sa ating senior high school teachers, students at syempre yung mga kasama ko ngayon sa Zoom. Again, magandang hapon po. Maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan mula sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Welcome sa online launch ng DZUP EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan. Muli ako po si Aya Fernandez at dati po akong student ng Broadcast Communication. Gumraduate po ako ng 2019. Kaya para po sa mga students ngayon na nanonood sa live, nararamdaman ko po yung feeling nyo. Parang ginigradean din po ako ng mga teachers ko ngayon na nanonood. Biro lang. At ayun, ngayon po, kakatapos ko lamang po sa FPJs ang probinsyano. Gumana po ako doon na doktor. At currently, nagpe-prepare po sa next taping. At ako po ay founding president ng Project Lily PH. Isa po kaming livelihood project and social enterprise. At gumagawa po kami ng eco-uling, isang eco-friendly na charcoal. Ayun. So, balita ko, meron daw fiesta dito sa Barangay Luntian. Okay yun na. So marami po kaming hinanda para sa inyong lahat. And again, welcome sa ating programa. Kaya naman, please share this live sa inyong mga kakilala via Messenger, Facebook, ayan. Invite nyo po ang inyong mga co-students, co-teachers, colleagues, friends, at iba pang mga advocates ng environment. Dahil ngayong araw na to, live po tayo sa dzup.org/EskweKalikasan at sa Facebook page ng DZUP 1602. At para simulan ang ating programa, magsitayo po tayong lahat para sa pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Bayang magiliw, pepas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y bumay. Lupang hinirang, tuyat ka ng magiliw, sa manlulupin, kita masisingil, sa lagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit o baka, may nilang ang tula at
ayun na nga, muli maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan. At hindi man tayo live event ngayon, sana komportable kayo ngayon. Sana masarap ang inyong naging ulam o kaya merienda ngayong hapon na ito. So para sa ating online launch ngayong araw na to, pakigamit mong ating hashtag na #EskweKalikasan. Ayan, para mag-connect tayo sa Twitter, sa Facebook at sa iba pang social media platforms later on. At maya-maya ay mapapanood natin kung ano-ano yung mga produkto na inihanda ng DZUP EskweKalikasan o kaya DZUP Eskwe para sa ating lahat. Personally, I find it really exciting kasi balita ko meron daw, ang dami, pero ito yung ilan sa mga i-launch natin ngayon. 10 teaching modules, 10 kayang-kaya podcast episodes, 10 Go Teacher Go sa DZUP EskweKalikasan video guide para sa mga teachers, at 50 episodes of EskweKalikasan sa radyo na pwede nating ma-access at magamit ng libre. So complete learning package ang inihanda namin. And this project launch is spearheaded by the Department of Broadcast Communication of the UP College of Mass Communication in partnership with DZUP 1602, UP National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development or UP NISMED, UP Diliman Office of the Chancellor, through the initiative of the Office of Deputy Speaker Loren, Legarda. Diba? Partners pa lang, ang bongga na, diba? Siyempre, mas bobongga ito para sa inyo. Bobongga to once na magamit, mapakinggan at mapanood na natin mismo yung mga materials na hinananda para sa ating lahat. Kaya naman, wag na natin patagalin pa dahil alam kong excited na kayong lahat. Ako kasi alam ko na yung laman ng program pero promise guys, exciting talaga today. Kaya again, use the hashtag EskweKalikasan and please share this live to your friends. So allow me to introduce our first speaker who will formally open our program for this afternoon. She is none other than the chairperson of the Department of Broadcast Communication and someone that I really idolize, Dr. Daphne Tatiana T. Canlas.
Kagalang-galang na Deputy Speaker at kinatawan ng Antique, Loren Legarda, Secretary Emmanuel de Guzman, Chancellor Fidel Arnimenzo, Dean Jerome Buenviaje, Dean Arminda V. Santiago, mga panauhing pandangal, mga kasamang guro at mag-aaral mula sa universidad, at lalong-lalo na ang mga mag-aaral at guro mula sa iba't ibang paaralan. Magandang hapon po. Ikinagagulak ko pong ipakilala ang EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan mula sa Departamento ng Broadcast ng Kolehiyo ng Komunikasyong Pamadla ng Universidad ng Pilipinas. Isang proyektong inihahandog namin sa lahat ng guro at mag-aaral upang paigtingin ang kaalaman tungkol sa krisis sa kalikasan at ang mga hamong haharapin natin sa mga darating na panahon. Batid ng aming departamento, kolehiyo at universidad ang mahalagang gampanin ng media at ng mga alagad nito sa pagpapalawak ng usapin tungkol sa ating kalikasan. Nasa climate crisis na ang buong mundo at ayon sa mga siyentipiko, may nalalabing panahon upang matugunan ito. We are aware of the important role of the media in making this knowledge and cry for help part of everyday conversation, one that reaches every sector of society. The broadcast media has the power to start this conversation, and online platforms and social media will help people keep engaged and keep the conversation going. We at the department believe in the crucial partnership between media and science education to inspire action among Filipinos of how this climate crisis affects them and how they can respond to it. From the fisher folk in our coastal towns, our farmers raising crops and animals, to the laborers, office workers, and business people, to our local government officials, and most especially the youth. How do we even come close to such a goal? In the EskweKalikasan podcast series, it is the youth to whom we reach out. It is they who will face the future this climate crisis will bring. It was important for this project to inspire young people to keep the conversation going within their immediate communities, which is why we are offering it for free to everyone. When the department conceptualized this project, the members of its faculty integrated the need for community involvement in drumming up awareness for and revealing solutions to address the climate crisis. Through radio programs on DZUP and now podcasts delivered online, you will hear voices from the scientific community, communities that espouse sustainable living, members of cultural groups and their advocates, and of course, young people. In putting together EskweKalikasan, we at the department similarly reached out to the community around us. Their help and expertise were invaluable to the success of this project. Allow me to acknowledge and thank our colleagues from the National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education, or NISMED, led by Dr. Sherilyn Monterola, and the excellent team of teachers who critiqued and helped us improve the learning modules. The team at the Climate Change Commission, headed by Secretary Emmanuel de Guzman, for providing us with the necessary information and review for our podcast content. The community of experts in UP Diliman, UP Integrated School, the students, organizations, and alumni who offered their stories and talents to give a human face to the climate crisis issues. Finally, allow me to thank the community at the College of Mass Communication, ang mga alagad ng media, led by Dean Arminda Santiago, for the college support. The staff, the students, our very own alumni for contributing their time, talent, and expertise. Finally, allow me to thank and congratulate the dedicated and hardworking production team of the DZUP EskweKalikasan radio programs for the successful series aired, and the members of the faculty of the Department of Broadcast Communication for seeing this project through from its ideation to its production and implementation, despite the pandemic, through to its fruition today. Hayaan po ninyong ipagmalaki ko ang Team BC, their grit, and their unwavering belief and support of EskweKalikasan. EskweKalikasan, para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan, is for you, is for the youth, is for the community, is for Filipinos. It is our hope that this project inspires young people to take action through the spirit of scientific inquiry and discovery, and take up ethical and just leadership through engagement with modes and media that reach the people where they are. Mabuhay kayo, mga kabataang Pilipino. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Ma'am, hindi ko pa po napapanood yung mga videos o napapakinggan yung podcasts. Pero sobrang inspired na po ako. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Canlas, o tinatawag namin siyang Ma'am Dita sa Broadcast Communication Department. The DZUP EskweKalikasan, para sa kabataan, kalikasan, at bayan, is a publicly funded initiative. So tama po ang inyong narinig. It is for the Filipino people, by the Filipino people. And para po sa sambayan ng Pilipino, ang sambayan ng Pilipino po ang nagpondo ng proyektong ito. And through the initiative of the Office of the Senator Loren Legarda, funding was secured under the General Appropriations Act of 2019. DZUP Esque is a product of collaboration sa pangunguna ng akademya at kontribusyon ng environmental advocates at organizations na buo ang learning at teaching resources ng DZUP Esque. So guys, imagine niyo yung mga top tier po na mga brains nagsama-sama at mapapanood na po natin sila at makukuha natin sila ma-access for free lahat. Kaya ngayong hapon, makakasama din natin ang mga organisasyon at individual na naging bahagi at nagpahayag ng suporta sa proyektong ito. Let's start with our major partner in this project, UP NISMED. They co-developed and reviewed the teaching modules to align the materials with the senior high school curriculum and to promote inquiry-based teaching and learning through scientific argumentation. So to give us her message of support, please welcome UP NISMED's Director, Dr. Cheryl Lynn C. Monterola.
The threat of climate change is real. We may not be aware of it, but our experience of recent extreme events tells us that there is something wrong. The threat of climate change is no longer a far-off problem that we can delay solving. It already requires urgent action in our own capacities. We at the National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development, or NISMED, are grateful to the Department of Broadcast Communication of the UP College of Mass Communication and the UP Diliman Office of the Chancellor through the initiative of the Office of Deputy Speaker, Loren Legarda. This partnership has allowed NISMED to contribute to the collective action against climate change. By producing teaching and learning resources that are specially designed for senior high school teachers and students, we educate the next generation and we fulfill our mission as responsible stewards. The 10 DZUP EskweKalikasan modules integrate climate change knowledge and concepts about the Philippine environment into the formal school science curriculum. Each teaching and learning package consists of a teaching module with a slide presentation, student worksheets, podcasts for students, a video guide for teachers, and radio program episodes. In our own capacity, we fulfill our mission as responsible stewards. Thus, we enjoin everyone, we enjoin you to join our cause. Let us work together to protect our planet and make it habitable to our children and to their children's children.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Monterola, at taus-pusong pasasalamat po sa UP NISMED sa pagiging bahagi ng DZUP EskweKalikasan. Now, to give us his message of support, let us hear from the Dean of the UP College of Education, Dean Jerome T. Buenviaje.
Ayon sa isang kawikaang mula sa bansang Kenya, ang mundo ay hindi pamana mula sa ating mga ninuno. Ito ay utang natin sa susunod na henerasyon. Ang ganitong kaisipan ay importanteng gabay kung paano dapat natin inaalagaan ang ating kalikasan at ang yaman nito. Kaya nga, mahalaga na may ugnay ito sa ating pang-araw-araw na gawain. Pagpupugay sa Departamento ng Broadcast Communication ng UP College of Mass Communication para sa isang napapanahong proyekto, ang DZUP EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan. Ang proyektong ito ay magsisilbing tulay upang maitawid ang mga mahalagang konsepto ukol sa pangangalaga ng ating kalikasan na maaaring tuwirang talakayin ng mga guro sa kanilang mga mag-aaral. Gamit ang mga learning modules na binuo sa pakikipagtulungan sa UP NISMED, sa tanggapan ng UP Diliman Chancellor at sa suporta ng tanggapan ni Deputy Speaker Legarda, alam kong mas magiging makabuluhan ang pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa mga klase sa paaralan. Naniniwala ako na malaki ang maiaambag ng proyektong ito sa pagpapatibay sa sektor ng edukasyon sa ating bansa. Kaisa ninyo ang UP College of Education at maaasahan ninyo ang aming patuloy na suporta sa adhikaing ito. Muli, pagbati sa UP-CMC. Mabuhay kayo at patuloy na magtagumpay.
Maraming salamat po, Dean Buenviaje, sa inyong suporta at mensahe. At syempre, in connection to what he said, hindi tayo magiging successful all throughout, like bonggang-bongga, kung wala ang support ng kabataan na nanonood ngayon. So, nabalitaan ko lang din na meron tayong 400 audience sa YouTube and almost 200 na tayo sa Facebook. So guys, please keep on sharing this live and ipalitan niyo po sa inyong friends ang tungkol sa DZUP EskweKalikasan online launch. So, ito na nga. So, dahil nga na-mention ko na yung mga nanonood ngayon, shout out sa ating school attendees, So, sana comment your school name, tapos yung location ng schools nyo, tapos mamaya batiin natin kayo or i-shoutout natin kayo. Alright? Please, sana makita ko yung inyong, come on, comment your school and location or saan yung province ninyo. So, pwede nyo rin dyan idagdag kung paano yung greeting ninyo sa inyong lokal na wika. At also, kasama ko pa rin dito sa Zoom ang mga naging bahagi ng DZUP EskweKalikasan. Hello po sa mga taga-UP NISMED na nasa Zoom room, sa aking mga former professors and teachers, high school teacher actually, meron din dito sa Zoom. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Alright. So guys, tara na, go! Comment kayo ng inyong school name, tapos yung province. Malay nyo, may pa-raffle kami mamaya. Malay nyo lang. Ayun. Hello po sa ating mga Zoom attendees. And also, mag-joke sana ako na i-comment ang inyong Gcash at baka nga meron tayong raffle, pero siguro mamaya na yun. Mamaya ko na yung bubunutin para pag inaantok na kayo. Anyway, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Talagang dito maaraw kung nasan man ako ngayon. And sana sa inyo rin, maganda ang panahon kung nasan kayo para maganda ang kapit ng internet connection. Yun pala kung bakit. At marami po kaming inihanda para sa inyo, kaya stay tuned sa ating live stream. Kasi hindi katulad nung, kasi ang maganda dito sa ating nilalaunch ngayong araw, talagang istorya ng mga Pilipino na pinagsama ng mga experts sa field na ito, tapos matututunan natin sila ng sabay. So hindi siya makukumpara sa land-oriented na mga modules, ganon. So talagang very Pinoy at sobrang contextualized sa ating bansa ang ating matututunan sa DZUP EskweKalikasan. So sana invite niyo po ang inyong co-teachers, fellow students, families, and friends na panoorin po tayo sa dzup.org/EskweKalikasan or kaya sa DZUP Facebook page. Alright. So, hindi ko man nakikita pa ngayon yung mga comments sa comment section. Talaga pag hindi live, no? Pero sana buhay na buhay kayo sa inyong mga tahanan. Sana kayo ngayon ay komportable at masaya at excited katulad ko ngayong araw na ito para sa ating launch. And here's another important cultural project that we have to watch out. So I believe at this point, I am going to show you, I am about to introduce a video that is a project brought to you by the Philippine Studies Association. So here's a sneak peek of
Sa wikang Kinaraya, ang ibig sabihin ng maaram ay maalam. Pagkat maalam ang katutubong Pilipino, sumasalok siya ng kaalaman mula sa malalim at patuloy na interaksyon sa kapaligiran. Ang katutubong kaalamang ito'y dumadaloy sa mga tradisyong pansining at pangkultura na matatagpuan sa iba't ibang panig ng kapuluan. Sa makukulay na disenyo ng mga tepo sa Tandubas, Tawi-Tawi, sa mga huni at himig ng Sludoy sa Lake Cebu, Timog Cotabato, sa pananampalatayang sumisibol sa Subli sa Talumpok, Silangan, Batangas, sa mga tilar na nagluluwal ng Binakol sa Ilocos Sur, at sa hiwagang pumipintig sa Linglin-o ng mga Ifugao. Bago pa man tayo nasakop ng mga Kastila, naipunla na ang mga tradisyong ito sa mga katutubong pamayanan. Ngunit maaaring sa hinaharap, ang mga ito'y maglalaho, makakalimutan. Dala na rin ng mga puwersa ng pagbabago at modernisasyon. Magsimula tayo sa pagkilala ng mga tradisyong pansining na ito. Kilalanin natin ang mga kaalamang ito. Ilimbag sa alaala. Itanghal. Dahil mula sa mga ito, unang nagkaroon ng hugis ang bansang patuloy nating nililikha at pinapanday. Maaram.
Very heartfelt video. At naalala ko, kakabasa ko lamang ng libro na The Philippines is Not a Small Country by Gideon Lasco. At if you allow me to share, naalala ko yung isa sa mga kinote niya, when it comes to civic consciousness and cultural knowledge, the country is your classroom. At paano nga naman natin poprotektahan ang isang bagay na hindi naman natin mahal. Kaya siguro napakahalaga muna na matutunan natin na mahalin ng tunay ang ating bansang Pilipinas. But before I proceed with the program, allow me to acknowledge ang ating mga guests na nandito sa ating online live launch. First, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Ms. Rosel Morales. She's the Communications and Project Associate of Masungi Geo Reserve and other members of Masungi Geo Reserve. And with that said, sana i-follow nyo na rin po ang Masungi Geo Reserve on Instagram and Facebook para po makita nyo ang kanilang updates. Second, Ms. Denise Claire Fernandez. She's the Communications Officer of Pagbubukas. Ms. Cherry Lee, Partnership Coordinator, Youth for Strike Climate Philippines, and other members of the Youth for Strike Climate Philippines. Samahan rin natin ang Youth Strike for Climate Philippines and other organizations sa nakikiisa sa 2021 Global Climate Strike ngayong araw, September 24. We stand in solidarity with you. And thank you so much for gracing us with your presence at ang inyong suporta para sa DZUP EskweKalikasan. And one of the goals of DZUP Eskwe is to integrate climate knowledge and environmental concepts and issues to our formal education. So those three things combining and integrating. Kasabay ng hangaring ito ang pagkilalan na may iba't ibang estilo ng pagtuto ang bawat estudyante at syempre ang pagiging engaging, creative at critical ng learning environment gamit ang iba't ibang platforms na available sa atin ngayon. So guys, diba ang bongga, bukod sa diba, the Philippines na is your classroom. Diba, labas ng bahay nyo, yung bakod nyo, yung barangay nyo, yung probinsya ninyo or yung syudad ninyo, meron pa tayong additional information from DZUP Eskwe, di ba? Yung guide natin kung paano natin mas matututukan ang pagtuto tungkol sa kalikasan. And aside from the teaching modules, magiging exciting din ang pagkatuto ng mga estudyante dahil handog namin sa inyo ang kanya-kanya podcast na sama-sama nating pakikinggan. Nasusundan ang adventure ng tatlong senior high school students o ang Wonder Trio ng Barangay Luntian na sina Kali, Naya, at Alab. So makikilala natin sila. Sana po pakinggan natin ang podcast ito. Again, it's Kanya-Kanya Podcast as they seek to understand and uncover different issues confronting the environment. Kaya-kaya. Sorry. Ako lang pala yung kanya-kanya. Kayang-kaya podcast. So again guys, gising-gising po tayo. It's Kaya-Kayang Podcast. And this podcast aims to mirror the concepts and issues presented in the modules to supplement classroom discussion using oral storytelling. So this is very relevant to us and for sure we can all relate to this because they are senior high school students like you. At meron din tayong Go Teacher Go sa DZUP EskweKalikasan. So ito ay isang video guide for teachers na makakatulong naman sa mga guro kung paano pwede i-implement ang mga modules sa mga klase. And given the shift to various modes of learning, diba? Right now we are online, remote, modular, or etc. The Go Teacher, Go Team made some suggestions on how teachers can use these modules. So hindi lang para sa estudyante, para rin sa mga guro. Talagang tulong-tulong tayo at hindi kanya-kanya. Kayang-kaya, o diba? #EskweKalikasan. O ano guys, nag-comment na ba kayo ng mga school ninyo? Comment na kayo on your school, pwedeng your name, your school, and your province. Alright, mamaya babasahin natin yan at isi-shoutout namin kayo. Sa nangyayaring climate crisis sa mundo, gaano nga ba kahalaga ang kabataan? Ano nga ba yung papel ng kabataan? Ano yung papel ng media? To share with us her message, let us welcome the Dean of the UP College of Mass Communication, Dean Arminda V. Santiago.
Isang mapagpalayang hapon sa ating lahat. Malugod ko kayong binabati sa inyong pagdating dito sa UP Masscom. Isa ang DZUP EskweKalikasan sa mga proyekto ng kolehiyo na may layong gamitin ang iba't ibang platform ng media upang mapalaganap ng tama, responsable at napapanahong impormasyon, gayon din ang malikhain ngunit mapanuring nilalaman nito. Layunin ng DZUP EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan na maging bahagi ng diskurso tungkol sa climate change, disaster, sustainable living at mindful consumption. Sa pangunguna ng Departamento ng Broadcasting, DZUP 1602 at UP National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development sa pakikipagtulungan sa opisina ng Chancellor ng UP Diliman at ng opisina ni Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda, napapanahon ang pag-produce ng mga learning resources na ito na magagamit ng mga senior high school teachers at students sa piling mga lesson sa kanilang science curriculum. Sa gitna ng pandemya at ng mga hamong nararanasan natin, narito ang buong komunidad ng UP Masscom na patuloy na nag-aalay ng husay, galing at malasakit sa bayan. Muli, isang mapagpalayang hapon sa ating lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Dean Santiago. At gaya nga na sinabi niya, I'd like to take the opportunity para po i-congratulate ang team na behind DZUP Esque. Dahil sa gitna ng pandemya, nakabuo po kayo nito para sa aming lahat. Kaya maraming salamat po. At tayo naman, na mga kabataan na makakatanggap ng blessing na to, sana ma-empower tayo nitong mga matututunan natin mula sa DZUP Esque. At simula pa lamang itong araw na ito. At o nga pala, bago ako mag-proceed, ayan na, meron ng pumasok sa aking mga shoutout list. So shoutout sa DepEd tayo, Lipa City Senior High School Calabarzon. Yan, sabi niya magandang tanghali mula sa ICT coordinators, Sir Steven, Ma'am Yvette, Sir Marco ng Lipa City Senior High School, SDO Lipa City. Hello po sa inyong lahat dyan. Sabi naman ni Steven Sales Cabalo, happy afternoon, science and math teacher here. Wow, from DepEd tayo, Lipa City Senior High School, Calabarzon. Oh, alam niyo, ibang-iba talaga yung teachers ng, well, meron pala akong mga teachers dito ng college, pero, di ba, maaalala ko lang yung high school teachers ko na hanggang ngayon talaga, nasa akin, nasa puso pa rin yung mga natutunan ko sa kanila. Yung foundation ng environmental consciousness ko, nag-start ng high school. So number 3, sabi ni Heather Faith A. Ma'am Hot. Wow, Ma'am Hot. Ma'am Hot. Sorry, ito na naman si Aye. Mamhot, yan, si Heather Mamhot. Grade 12 from the School of Kabasalan, Science and Technology High School, Kabasalan, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Region 9. Hashtag EskweKalikasan. Hello, Heather! Mula sa Mindanao. Tapos meron din tayong mga taga-Siargao, guys, dito na naririto, nanonood sa ating live. Magandang hapon, mayong adlaw sa inyong tanan. Sabi naman ni Precious, good afternoon po, ako mo si Precious Janela A. Humandos, SSCG Grade 10 student from General Luna National High School, Siargao Island Division. Ma'am, magandang hapon sa iyo. Sabi naman ni Princess Planteras, she is from DepEd Tayo Buug National High School 303829. Aba, may student number pa. Wow. Sabi naman ni Edgar Matthew Molina, siya isang grade 12 Da Vinci STEM from Kabalasan Science and Technology High School. Kabasalan, sorry, my bad. Kabasalan, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Region 9. Yun, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at natutuwa talaga ako na nakikipag-interact kayo sa akin kahit na via comment section, nagiging posible talaga. At definitely, kayang-kaya. Hashtag EskweKalikasan. Yun. At dahil nga nasa Eskwe, lahan tayo ngayon, may quiz po tayo. Huwag po kayong lilive ng live. Huwag po kayong lilive ng Zoom. Opo, sorry po kung may quiz tayo. So, isa lang naman po yung question. Pagbigyan niyo na po ako para sa mga nasa Zoom, chance ko na po makaganti sa aking mga professors. Ako naman po magbibigay ng quiz. So, what is the name of the government agency which is a policy-making body tasked to coordinate, monitor, and evaluate programs on climate resilience? Alright, so again, sa mga nasa Facebook Live, sa mga nasa YouTube Live, please sagot po kayo. Ito po yung tanong, what is the name of the government agency which is a policy-making body tasked to coordinate, monitor, and evaluate programs on climate resilience? Yon. Ang makakasagot po nito ay certified cute. Yon. At ang sagot po ay, it's the Climate Change Commission or CCC. So para po sa mga nakasagot, congratulations! Cute po kayo. Dabihan lang. So we are very grateful kasi speaking of CCC, this afternoon, the Vice Chairperson and the Executive Director of the Climate Change Commission is here with us. So let us welcome Secretary Emmanuel M. de Guzman.
Good afternoon. The spread of the COVID-19 has caused widespread disruption to all aspects of our lives. The education system was among the most affected. In the interest of public health, face-to-face lessons were canceled, forcing many institutions to transition online. Teachers and students, even parents, have had to scramble to adjust. Few could have foreseen how drastically and how quickly we all had to shift the way we teach, the way we learn, the way we form relationships, the way we plan for the future, and the way we live. In a similar way, climate change, if left unaddressed, will force us to make drastic changes in our life ways. Unlike the pandemic, however, we are being given fair warning about its approach. Despite the bleak outlook, we understand that something can be done, and so we can choose to make the shift now to a more sustainable normal or face the consequences of a more extreme, more hostile planet in the future. This is why climate discourse should be mainstreamed. The Earth is telling us its stories, pleading with us, and we must listen. If we are to survive, we must understand and retell these stories and pleas. As limited access to climate information and services hindered the capacities of communities to prevent, cope, respond to, and recover from climate shocks and stresses, We need enabling platforms such as the members of our communities, educators and students included, can conveniently access. In doing so, we bring climate information to a wider audience. We spread the message of climate action to the grassroots and to the younger generations, and help them understand that they are not merely stakeholders in waiting as regards this issue. With this, I wish to congratulate the University of the Philippines College of Mass Communication, particularly the Department of Broadcast Communication, DZUP, and the UP National Institute for Science and Mathematics Education Development for spearheading the DZUP EskweKalikasan in producing free, readily accessible instructional materials for senior high school teachers and students on the environment and climate change. You allow the ranks of climate advocates to swell. The Climate Change Commission is one with you in this initiative, and we look forward to further collaborating with you in future endeavors. To the educators, students, and fellow advocates participating here today, the call is clear. Make use of this new platform to its fullest. Post about it on social media. Talk about it over Zoom conversations. Widen the reach of climate knowledge and engage everyone you can. Spread the message. Tell the stories. Assert the science. Your action and solidarity will be key to our collective triumph and survival. Thank you. Mabuhay.
Maraming salamat po, Secretary De Guzman, para sa inyong mensahe sa amin. At totoo, the past days, the past weeks, months, even the year has been really tough. They have been really tough. And sana itong DZUP EskweKalikasan ay magsilbing pag-asa sa atin dito lahat na meron pa rin mahahandog na bago, meron pa rin matututunang bago. At dahil meron tayong matututunang bago, meron tayong magagawa na bago sa sitwasyon natin ngayon. So sana magdala ito ng pag-asa sa atin. And very Gen Z and millennial, di ba? Kasi merong podcast, di ba? Merong mga, aside from the videos. And speaking of the podcast, before we move on with our program, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the voice talents, di ba, na maririnig natin sa podcast. The presence of the voice talents who gave life to Kali, Naya, and Alab sa Kayang Kaya podcast, at kasama na rin sila Cap, Tina, at Tito Greg and Lola Choleng. Mga kasali, samahan ninyo ako as we welcome the voice talents of Kayang Kaya podcast. Si Alicia Christine Marquez as Kali, si Milka Zyril Aragones as Naya, Ruel Matthew Bernos as Alab, Shane Claudine David as Captina, Sir Eligiev as Tito Greg, and Ma'am Josefina Santos as Lola Choleng. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, and I am thrilled to listen now to Kayang Kaya podcast. O, diba? Yung pala, parang may pagkahalong radio drama rin pala ito, guys. So talagang let's check this out. At malapit nang mag-launch ang EskweKalikasan website, and we have more things coming up. So stay tuned. Invite your co-teachers, fellow students, families, and friends to watch us here on dzup.org/EskweKalikasan at sa Facebook page ng DZUP. Pero bigla ko lang naisip, kanina pa ako paulit-ulit, #EskweKalikasan, kayang-kaya. Pero paano nga ba ito ma-access? Paano natin ito mada-download for free? So panoorin po natin itong video na ito.
Paano i-access ang learning resources ng DZUP EskweKalikasan? Una, mag-log in sa www.dzup.org/EskweKalikasan para makita ang kabuuan ng DZUP EskweKalikasan Learning Package. Sunod na i-click ang topic na gustong silipin. Mag-scroll sa baba ng page at makikita sa gawing kanan ng screen ang iba't ibang learning resources na binubuo ng teacher's module, PowerPoint presentation at student worksheet ng bawat leksyon. Ang kain-kain podcast na maaaring iparinig sa mga estudyante. At ang video ng Go Teacher Go sa DZUP EskweKalikasan na gabay naman ng guro kung paano gamitin ang teaching modules. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, maaari ding pakinggan ang radio episode ng DZUP EskweKalikasan. Napakadali lang, di ba? Kaya halika na at sabay-sabay tayong matuto.
At ayun, sabay-sabay tayong matuto, kayang-kaya. Pero shoutout muna tayo ngayon kasi talagang natutuwa ako sa mga nakikipag-interact sa comment section. Ito naman, sabi niya magandang hapon po, watching here from Siargao, Daniel M. Zaragoza from Burgos National High School Senior High Coordinator. Magandang hapon po, ma'am. Sabi naman, good afternoon po, ma'am. Shout out po from Santa Clara National High School, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Region 9. And then, sabi naman, watching from Santa Clara National High School, Naga District, Zamboanga, Sibugay, Region 9, Teodoro C. Pastor Jr. Sabi naman, ito pa, last. Good afternoon, watching from Siargao, Islang, Grace Ana B. Argana from Burgos National High School, Burgos, Surigao del Norte, Siargao Division. Naku, sana makapunta ako dyan sa Siargao. Talaga, parang puro sunod-sunod from Siargao. Maraming salamat po. Sending all love and light here from Manila. Kasama din po natin ngayon dito sa Zoom ang mga UP NISMED module consultants and evaluators na sina Mr. Anthony Giller E. Urbano, Arlene P. De La Cruz, Mr. Lina M. Maramag, Ms. Deborah Ann O. Lumantas, and Dr. Dennis L. Danipog, Elio C. Ovil Jr., Maria Lourdes S. Agad, Maria Michelle V. Hunyo, Miss Hunyo, aking high school teacher, Maria Helen D. Catalan, May R. Chavez, Dr. Sally Gutierrez, and Princess Raimunda G. Gatan. Magandang hapon po. Maraming salamat sa pagsama dito sa akin sa live. Parang kayo pong aking live audience. So, maraming salamat po talaga. As in, walang bola. After our program, may magpapapa po na advisory sa ating website. So, those who need a certificate of attendance for the event, pwede po kayong please answer the form so we can give you a certificate of the event after. Diba? Pang remembrance din kung di nyo naman talaga kailangan. Lalo na yung mga nandyan sa Siargao. Kayo yung mga favorite people ko ngayon. So aside from DZUP EskweKalikasan learning package, we have the EskweKalikasan sa radyo. You can tune in to DZUP 1602 and listen to our radio episode starting from 12 noon to 1 p.m. Monday to Friday yan. So weekdays. So every time na manananghalian kayo, tune in to DZUP 1602. And as you see, aside sa layunin ng DZUP EskweKalikasan na makatulong sa mga guro at estudyante ng senior high curriculum, we also want to raise awareness and call for action sa different sectors and stakeholders in our country to collectively act on the climate crisis we are facing right now. And this project is also dedicated to the public as a whole. No, sana wag po tayong ma-overwhelm sa mga problema dahil mas na-outweigh ng pag-asa at potential natin para maka-provide ng solusyon sa problemang kinahaharap natin, di ba? Mas matatag tayo, mas maganda tayo, mas bongga tayo kaysa sa problemang hinakaharap natin. Kailangan lang natin alamin yung tamang proseso, and that is through education and empowerment of the youth, most especially para malagpasan nating lahat ito. And speaking of environmental advocates, kanina, ang espesyal na panauhin natin sa hapon na ito ay kilala bilang isang malaking champion for the environment, and isa rin siya sa mga talagang pinaka tinitingala ko at ang dahilan kung bakit siguro din ako medyo kabado ngayon kasi nga idol ko talaga ito eh. So to formally introduce our keynote speaker, he is a faculty of the Department of Broadcast Communication. Isa siya sa mga nag-conceptualize ng proyektong ito. Siya ay isang creative consultant of the teaching modules. At syempre, again, isa sa mga pinakatinitingala kong profesor. Let us all welcome Dr. Elizabeth L. Enriquez.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda currently serves as member of the House of Representatives of the Philippines, representing the Lone District of the province of Antique. Prior to her election to the current position in May 2019, she was a 3-term member of the Philippine Senate, where she chaired the committees on finance, foreign relations, and climate change. She has authored many laws aimed at improving the lives of Filipinos and promoting inclusive, sustainable, and resilient development. She is also currently the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, or UNDRR, Global Champion for Resilience, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, National Adaptation Plan Champion, a Commissioner of the Global Commission on Adaptation, the Climate Vulnerable Forum, or CVF, Ambassador for Parliaments, and the Women Political Leaders Global Ambassador for Disaster Risk Reduction, Climate Change, and Environment. Her inspiring advocacy on environmental protection has earned her global recognition. She has been recognized as a global leader for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum and a United Nations Environment Program laureate. It is her commitment to the cause of protecting the environment that has enabled the University of the Philippines, her alma mater, through the Department of Broadcast Communication and DZUP, to produce a compendium of radio programs and teaching modules to raise awareness of the environmental issue. We are holding this ceremony today to launch the DZUP EskweKalikasan project, which would not have been possible without the support of Deputy Speaker Legarda. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to give you Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda.
It is with great pleasure that I take part in the launch of DZUP EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan, a project that I helped fund and support under the 2019 General Appropriations Act when I was chairperson of the Senate Committee on Finance. As the author of the National Environmental Awareness and Education Act of 2008, I am excited to be with you and to deliver this message. What we do here today is important as we all believe and know that climate change is the greatest humanitarian challenge of our time. The signs are all around us. The numbers of loss and damage speak for themselves. It is no longer an issue of taking action, but rather of how much action we need to take. The impacts of climate change will be more greatly felt by the younger generation. All of you, your children and grandchildren, if we do not act now to address the causes. This is why we think it is very necessary to promote climate education to make it more accessible to students across the country. Quality environmental education is one of the best investments our government can make in fighting the climate crisis, especially because our youth today have better means of accessing and sharing information about the state of our environment, as well as programs and initiatives of government and the private sector which you can all take part in. I've always been firm in my belief that you, our youth, are key partners in climate action, which is why we fight to give you the space, the capacity to be heard, to decide, to take urgent, meaningful action. The fresh perspectives, the energy, passion, the dynamism, the innovative actions that only young people like you can bring is exactly what we need. Most of you fully understand the laws that I have enacted since 1998, and that is why we are practicing and using and implementing all of these today, such as RA 9003, the segregation of waste at source, recycling and composting, refusing single-use plastics, even planting vegetables and fruits in small pots and bins, RE law, the Renewable Energy Law, in my second term, the Clean Air Act in my first term, the Clean Water Act, the Expanded National Integrated Protected Area System, INIPAS, the NDREAM Law on Disaster Risk Reduction, Environmental Education Awareness, and many more. There's so much to talk about, so much to do. I'm glad to do it with you. In closing, I wanted you to reflect on the words of perhaps the world's most famous youth right now, the BTS group who spoke in the recent UN General Assembly. Instead of our youth as the lost generation, why not the welcome generation? You are the generation that welcomes change, challenges, and knows how to push ahead in spite of dire scenarios. I commend the Department of Broadcast Communications of the University of the Philippines College of Mass Communications, DZUP 1602, and partner organizations for spearheading this laudable project, which I will continuously support. The enthusiasm for this event should reassure us that we will have more engaged, courageous leaders in the years to come. The challenge for us now is to bring together young Filipinos to make sure our actions have a wide reach and greater impact. I have hope that together the Filipino youth can tip the balance in favor of a safer, greener, more resilient, and safer and sustainable future. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang kabataang Pilipino, isang luntiang araw sa ating lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Honorable Loren Legarda. And through the initiative of your office ay magkakaroon po ng supplemental material sa senior high school, lalo na sa 3 core subjects. Ito ay ang Earth and Life Science, or Earth Science, Understanding Culture, Society and Politics, at Disaster Readiness and Risk Reduction. Maraming salamat po ulit sa inyong suporta at paniniwala sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan. Maraming salamat po. And now, we are nearing the launch of our website. But before that, gusto namin kayong pabaunan ng isang magandang himig. Kaya naman, may we present to you a virtual choir performance from the University of the Philippines Concert Chorus.
I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me.
Maraming salamat UP Concert Chorus o ang chorus ay isa sa mga official performing groups of the University of the Philippines, and they are internationally acclaimed and awarded and have continuously revolutionized choral performance in the country and even across the world. Maraming salamat, diba? From Honorable Loren Legarda's speech na pa-smooth like butter tayo sa BTS. Diba? Ngayon naman, what a wonderful world by the UP Concert Chorus. So before moving on, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Professor Jane Vinculado. She is the project leader and head of Component 1 at Professor Anikalu. Professor Anikalu Tanakin, Professor Melba Estonilio, mga director ng DZUP EskweKalikasan sa radyo. Maraming salamat po for being here at it's an honor for me to acknowledge you. Marami po akong natutunan sa inyong lahat. At ito na nga, sabi nga sa mga beauty pageant, this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. And to our dear senior high school teachers and students mula Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, ito na po. Sa mga nanonood ngayon, the DZUP EskweKalikasan website is now live. Ayan po. Free nyo pong mada-download ang lahat ng learning materials ng DZUP EskweKalikasan para sa kabataan, kapaligiran, at bayan. Meron tayong Kayang-Kaya podcast. Meron tayong Go Teacher Go para sa ating mga teachers. At marami pang iba. Pwede nyo po silang ma-download for free. So kung wala kayong internet connection all throughout, download nyo lang and then available na sa inyo. Congratulations po sa lahat. Sana meron akong makitang clap emojis. Yan. Yan, masigabong palakpakan po sa inyong lahat. And gaya ng na-mention ni Ma'am Gita or ni Dr. Canlas, diba? Ito ang storya nating lahat. Kasama yung mga farmers, fisher folks, mga taga-barangay nyo, kung nasaan mang syudad o probinsya ka, atin itong mga modules at podcasts na ito para sa atin gawa ng mga Pilipino at ng ating mga experts mula sa akademya. Nakakatuwa lang. And sana, again, mabigyan tayo ng napakalaking pag-asa mula sa proyektong ito. At bago ko po ako mag-proceed, gusto ko lamang din po pasalamatan muli ang NISMED Project Coordinator, si Dr. Aida Yap, Dr. Erlinda Ronda, Ms. Malu Agad, ang ating Module Supervisor, Dr. Tita Canlas, ating Podcast Sound Supervisor and Website Head, Dr. Iris Brilon, ang ating Creative Consultant, Dr. Elizabeth Enriquez, Ma'am Betsy, at sa lahat sa inyo ngayon sa ating Zoom Live, nanood sa Facebook, sa website, sa YouTube, maraming salamat. At with the youth has so much potential, and with that potential lies so much hope. Sana wag po tayong magpapatalo sa mga nararanasan natin ngayon. Sama-sama po natin tong lagpasan. Sounds cliche, pero the reasons why clichés are cliché, diba? Oh, pahabol, si Dr. Sally Gutierrez, ang ating module supervisor for teaching. Maraming salamat po. And of course, the very beautiful and gorgeous and wise Maria Ivy A. Claudio, ang ating project leader. So, palakpakan naman pong lahat. Oh, Miss Jeannie Gumagay. Ayun, maraming salamat po sa mga Sir Ellie Giev. Ayun, nakikita ko po nag-thumbs up. Si Kuya James, syempre, si Paolo. Sa lahat talaga kaya naging possible ito. Pero simula pa lamang po ito, ha. Pangako nyo po sa akin, i-share nyo po ito, i-download nyo, and you will use the hashtag EskweKalikasan. Maraming salamat po sa lahat naging bahagi ng DZUP EskweKalikasan at sa lahat ng nanood ngayon mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Muli, ako po si Aya Fernandez para sa kabataan, kapaligiran at bayan. Kayang-kaya, again, mabuhay at isang makakalikasang hapon sa inyong lahat.